Born on November 21, 1938, in the small town of Crosse, Wisconsin, Evelyn Grace Hartley was the youngest of 4 children. By the time she was 15, Evelyn had blossomed into a determined and accomplished high school junior at Central High School. Known for her academic excellence, she had a particular fascination with science and a reputation as one of the school's brightest minds. Her talents extended beyond academics. She was a vital part of the school's drama club and a number of other extracurricular activities. Evelyn's life wasn't just about achievements. Her quiet dependability and active role in her church community spoke volumes about her character. Even with her hectic schedule, Evelyn embraced the outdoors, thriving in activities like hiking, swimming, tennis, and skiing. She was, in every way, a vibrant young woman with her whole future ahead of her. October 24, 1953, was an exciting night for the town of Crosse, Wisconsin. The homecoming game at what is now the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse had the whole community abuzz. Among those planning to attend was university professor Viggo Rasmussen, accompanied by his wife and their eldest daughter. But with a 20-month-old toddler, little Janice, at home, the family needed someone to watch her. Their original babysitter had other plans, so the Rasmussen family turned to Evelyn Hartley, in need of a last-minute replacement. Evelyn's father, Richard Hartley, was also a professor at the university, and the Rasmussen family was well aware of Evelyn's reputation as a bright and responsible young girl. She had expressed interest in babysitting before, making her the perfect candidate. Before Evelyn left for the Rasmussen household that evening, her father made a simple request: call home at 8:30 p.m. to check in. A little after 6 p.m., Professor Rasmussen arrived to pick Evelyn up, with their destination being the family's home on Hushler Drive, a newly developed area on the outskirts of La Crosse, Wisconsin. The neighborhood, still sparse and underlit, had few streetlights to guide the way. Once inside, Evelyn put a thoughtful bouquet of flowers on the kitchen table. Alongside them, she set down the school books she had brought along, planning to squeeze in some studying after putting the baby to bed. With the household routine explained and baby Janice settled, the Rasmussen family departed for the homecoming game, leaving Evelyn to care for their youngest. At Evelyn's home, the clock ticked past 8:30 p.m., the time she was supposed to check in. Concern turned to unease as Richard Hartley tried calling the Rasmussen house several times but received no answer. Deciding he couldn't wait any longer, he grabbed his keys and drove over to check on his daughter himself. When Richard arrived, the Rasmussen home appeared calm from the outside. The lights were on, the radio hummed faintly inside, but no one answered his knocks on the front or back doors. The doorbell went unanswered too. Growing more anxious, Richard tested each door, but they were all locked. Peering through a window, his heart sank. On the living room floor, he spotted Evelyn's glasses lying next to one of her shoes. An unsettling sight. Determined to find out what was going on, Richard walked around the house, searching for another way in. At the back of the home, he discovered an open basement window. The screen had been removed and set against the wall outside, and inside, a small step stool rested just below the window. Without hesitation, Richard climbed through. Inside, his worry increased tenfold. He searched the house room by room, but there was no sign of his daughter. In the nursery, however, he found little Janice safe and sound, still asleep in her crib, unaware of the growing panic that was slowly filling the home. Feeling increasingly on edge, Richard returned to the living room, desperate to gather his thoughts. But the more he looked around, the clearer it became that something was terribly wrong. The furniture was in disarray, Evelyn's school books were scattered across the floor, and her glasses, which he'd spotted earlier, weren't just lying there. They were broken. Then, Richard made a chilling discovery. Blood. Small stains, but enough to now fear for his daughter's safety. As Richard circled the home, visibly distressed, a neighbor noticed him and came over to investigate. After hearing what had happened, the neighbor immediately ran back to their house to alert the police before joining in the search for Evelyn. By the time the Rasmussen family returned from the homecoming game, their house was surrounded by police cars. Investigators quickly uncovered a series of troubling clues inside and around the Rasmussen home. Pry marks on 3 windows indicated repeated attempts to break in, before the intruder finally gained entry through the basement. Blood evidence was scattered throughout the property, matching Evelyn's blood type. 2 pools of blood were found in the yard, with additional bloodstains located near the basement window. And shockingly, a bloody handprint was discovered on the wall of the garage about 4 feet off the ground. Even more blood was found on the outer wall of a neighbor's home. Authorities speculated that Evelyn's abductors had carried her through the yard, but were forced to stop and rest her on the ground, leading to the blood throughout the property. Distinct footprints from sneakers with a patterned sole were found in the basement window box and living room, further suggesting a struggle. Clues also pointed to how Evelyn might have been taken from the home. A button with red threads was found in the basement window well, consistent with the red denim pants Evelyn had been wearing when she left for the Rasmussen home. In their efforts to locate Evelyn, investigators brought in tracking dogs to follow her scent. The dogs traced her trail for 2 blocks before losing it a short distance northwest of the Rasmussen home. This loss of scent led authorities to theorize that Evelyn had been placed in a vehicle parked nearby. Neighbors soon corroborated this idea, with several reported sightings of a suspicious car in the area that night. One neighbor described a light-colored vehicle circling the neighborhood around 8 p.m., while another recalled hearing screams around 7 p.m., but dismissed them as children playing. The timeline investigators pieced together suggested Evelyn was likely abducted within that critical hour. Then, 2 days later, a local man named Ed Hofer provided a terrifying account. Hofer described seeing a 2-toned green 1941 or 42 Buick on the night Evelyn disappeared. He also recounted seeing 2 men walking down the street with a young girl. She was wedged between them, and the men held her by the arms. Hofer assumed at the time that the girl who appeared unsteady was simply intoxicated and being escorted to the homecoming game. Days after Evelyn's disappearance along Highway 14, 2 miles south of La Crosse, a pair of blood-stained underpants and a brassiere were discovered. Tests confirmed that the blood on both items matched Evelyn's blood type. Shortly after that discovery, in the Coon Valley area of Wisconsin, southeast of La Crosse, investigators found a pair of size 11 Goodrich brand sneakers and a size 36 denim jacket, both stained with blood matching Evelyn's type. The items were located 800 feet apart and appeared to have been discarded not long before they were found. The sneakers were of particular interest. Their tread matched the footprints left at the Rasmussen home, and they were identified as a model called Hood Mogul, sold in only 5 Midwestern states. The treadwear suggested they belonged to someone who operated machinery, specifically a Whizzer motorbike. Inside one of the shoes, investigators found a single human hair, believed to belong to an African-American male. Further analysis revealed that 2 different people had worn the shoes, with the second person's feet being too large for them. The denim jacket also provided compelling clues. Investigators learned it had been lying along a highway a few days prior and was picked up by a local farmer, who kept it in his truck until turning it over to the police. The jacket had base metal paint flecks, a rehemmed bottom with white thread, and 1 missing button. Inside the left pocket were blast fibers, typically used in scrubbing brushes. However, its small size raised questions about whether it could have been worn by someone large enough to fit into the size 11 sneakers, also found. Evelyn's disappearance sparked one of the largest missing person searches in Wisconsin history. Over 2,000 volunteers, including community members, law enforcement, National Guard troops, Boy Scouts, and students from La Crosse State College, joined forces. Together, they searched on foot, by boat, and from the air with helicopters and planes. Local farmers were urged to inspect their properties, while hunters were advised to stay vigilant for anything unusual. In an unprecedented move, authorities organized a mass vehicle search, suspecting Evelyn's blood might be found in the trunk or back seat of the suspect's car. Gas station attendants played a crucial role, checking vehicles and reporting any owners who refused inspection. Cars that had been checked and verified to be clear were marked with stickers reading, "My car is okay." Authorities even went so far as to have reopened graves that had been recently dug, in case Evelyn's body had been hidden in a burial plot. Clam Lake, near Fairmont, Minnesota, was dragged after a fisherman reported snagging hair strands and a bobby pin on his hook. Despite these efforts, nothing of value was recovered. By May 1954, investigators turned their focus to Evelyn's school, conducting mass polygraph tests on male students and staff at Central High School. Initially, they intended to test over 1,750 individuals. However, the program was discontinued after just 300 tests, as the practice stirred significant controversy. Evelyn's father and Viggo Rasmussen also underwent polygraph tests and passed. By the end of the first year, more than 3,500 individuals had been interviewed, but none of the evidence could link a suspect to the crime. Among those scrutinized was Ed Gein, the infamous serial killer. At the time of Evelyn's disappearance, Gein had been staying with a relative just blocks from the Rasmussen home. Despite his proximity to the crime, Gein denied any involvement. A meticulous search of his Plainfield property revealed no trace of Evelyn, and in November 1957, authorities officially cleared him. Nevertheless, speculation around Gein's possible connection to the case lingers to this day. Decades later, Evelyn's case remains unsolved. Investigators continue to hold her dental records on file, should her remains ever be discovered. Tragically, despite the immense efforts to find her, the body of Evelyn Hartley has never been found. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.